Hello Leo, welcome to your reading. My name is Maria. This is a reading for anybody with dominant Leo in their chart. Could be Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, Venus, stellium. You could be a cross watcher and it could still be for you. And it's a timeless general reading, so you can swap around the genders and the roles. And also, when you find it, when you're directed to it, when you feel like clicking on it, that was the perfect time for you to find this message. So it's for the time when it calls you. So let's get directly to it. We start out with two cards from the Cosmic Creatures deck. The Panther and the Oyster. And you come out, of course, as the big cat, and the oyster comes out as something that you got, that caught your eye a while ago. It caught your eye and you were transfixed by it. It could have been a person, a dream job, something that you saw, and it just awoke all of your senses. It just really mesmerized you. And you just knew that thing, that person, I'm going for that. That's really what I want. And the way it comes out though today is that this pearl inside the oyster was something, it was like a potential that you saw, or a beauty, or something really gorgeous that caught you and was very intriguing and alluring to you. And then it sort of shut down again. So I see this as it opened and then it shut down. And so it left you in a state of feeling shut out. You come out with the outsider card, and it was like, oh, well, I saw this thing, but it kind of threw me out, or it closed down to me. And you then are left in this situation where you're not sure how to get back in, or how to get close to this person, or get this job, or whatever it was. You're left in this situation of feeling outside of it, and in a situation of being shut out from something that you actually really want. And on a deeper level, it's described by the Two of Inspiration. So and see, this one is still, it's looking in the same direction as the Panther. It's still looking over at this one, the deeper part of you was trying to figure out, okay, but how do I go about it? Like, how do I get this? How do I get this oyster to open back up, or to me, or how do I get near it? So you're trying to kind of plan and figure that out. And meanwhile, this that just clammed up, this oyster, this dream or person or dream job or project, could have been also a heart opening, could have been your own heart that opened and shut back down. It is coming out with some energies that are not very engaging. So it comes out with the inner voice, like it kind of closed in on itself and went into a very introvert process, and was just not speaking, was not engaging, was just closed in on itself. And it also comes out with that was the inner voice, and this is the postponement card, which is saying that it was not, whatever this was, you might have felt like it would open back up again pretty quickly, and it just didn't. It wasn't doing that. And you might have felt like, but why not? Why not? Why would you open and then close? What's the hold up here? And so you were really confused at that weird situation of you having seen something so great and enticing and beautiful, and then it just not opening back up. But unfortunately, as it turned out in this story, this is a storyline, so it keeps on going, and I don't know exactly where you are in the storyline. So you can switch around the tenses, the past, present tenses. It was like it was kind of moving away from you. It either was or you felt like it was. This is the Six of Voices, traditionally the Six of Swords, which is sort of a moving away from, and you could just sort of see it in a way sailing away, or just getting further and further away from you, and not really re-engaging with you. And so you did something very, very wise. You did something really clever and very wise. You decided, you then come out as the fly, which is a very, it comes out as grit. It comes out as something very, very good at surviving and very clever in its sort of having great life skills. And it comes out as you deciding, okay, well, I'm not going to stay and wait for that forever. I'm not going to sit and stare at it and hope that it's going to come back, because you might have done that, of course, for a while. It could have been a longer or shorter while. But you do reach a point where, like, okay, I can't keep doing this. If it's shut down and it's not opening up, I can't sit and stare at it. You might have been, I would assume, still hoping it would open back up, but you wisely decided, in the meantime, I'll do something else. I'll just fly around and let other parts of life kind of unfold. And it did create a lot of harmony in you and your life, not sitting and staring at this thing that you couldn't have, at least at that moment. So this has been very good, very clever, very wise of you. And it also, on a deeper level, this is the Seven of Materials. It meant that you kept on following your path. You didn't stop in your tracks. At least you moved on from that, if you did for a while. And you just decided, well, okay, I just have to keep on going. And you were probably hoping that this would ultimately lead also to that pearl. But you were not looking at that intently and constantly. You were just, okay, doing your thing, following your path, being yourself, and just kind of flowering within what you could create and what was already happening in your own life. And that was a really smart move, because it kind of wakes up this oyster that has clammed up, and that person or that thing then comes out as the camel. See, now the table has turned a little bit because the camel is looking at the fly. So that person or that thing kind of opened itself up, or opened its eyes, and saw you thriving, saw you moving on, saw you doing your thing, and was kind of a little taken aback by it. Was actually quite surprised. It comes out clarified by the Thunderbolt, which is kind of like a tower card, and so they are actually maybe in a way a little shocked that you're not just sitting around and waiting for them, but that you're moving on with your life. And it came out with, I just rewatched the other day, Groundhog Day. If you ever saw that movie, and it's a story, it's this kind of a spoiler, but seeing as the movie is like 29 years old, I think it's okay. It's about a man who's reliving the same day over and over again, and he kind of realizes that there's this woman that he really wants, and that he's actually in love with her, and that she's a woman of high quality, and that he's actually gonna have to step it up to somehow get to her. But then he does realize in the process that he can't just only be focused on her. He needs to become a better person regardless of her. He needs to start being helpful and living life in a much more giving and open way, you know, being a gentle, good person. And that is really what it's all about. And then what happens in that story is that she suddenly sees him. She suddenly sees him because he's not just being a smartass who's running around trying to get her or something. He's like, okay, I'm doing my thing. I'm moving on. I'm creating my life. And then that other person was like, what? Who are you? What's going on? Why are all these people loving you so much? Why are you doing all these good deeds? So I feel like it's a little bit that story. That you moved on and you just bettered yourself. As I'm not saying you were that person, it's just like a metaphor, but you did show like quite a great side of yourself. To just, you moved on and you followed your path, and they were like, what? Could have been also a job offer, a dream or something that came back. And I think that person or that dream realized, oh, okay, I am actually ready. I do want to go into this partnership. I do want to get with this person. And so this is the ripeness card coming out. And then how I feel like this pans out is that they make a comeback into your life. Or at least they try to. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but to me these two cards look a little bit alike. It's like the pearl is her face, and the kind of like the oyster itself is like her hair in a way. So it does make a comeback into your life, but it does come back in quite another shape. Not exactly this ideal, perfect, beautiful potential that you saw, but something a little more, this comes out a little more goth. I don't know if that means something to you, but it is a little less ideal, and it could just be what they really are. You might have just seen a potential. And now they show up as they really are, or I think at this point in the story you'll know how that played out. But they do make a comeback. Probably maybe they show up at your doorstep, and I think you probably wanted to make that work, because this had been the thing that you were going for, and now here it was saying, hi, do you want me? I'm here now. And so I think you wanted to give it a shot. You might have been a little surprised that it had another shape, but I think that you did show up for that. You then come out as the vulture spirit, and the way this comes out is that it's sort of a death and transformation in a way, and that it was a kind of an experience that was changing you, that this one showed up again. And maybe maybe it was a little bit of a weird situation. Maybe you had gone really far in your new self, and you kind of had to maybe turn some things around in your mind or your heart to try to show up for this one again. But you do want to show up for it, because here was that dream that you had been wanting, that person that you've been pining for. But it has been a process for you. This also actually always comes out to me as also a little bit, this is the traveling card, but it does come out as, I always see it as what happens just after after a person passes. So going through, these two just come out as death and transformation. So some change happens in you or in your life, and you might also maybe you tried to make it work, and it actually comes out as something that was not really very easy. You come out as the Seven of Inspiration, trying to keep the darkness away. Maybe this one came with a lot of darkness that you were not ready for. or just in a shape that was a little difficult for you to deal with. So actually, I think that what happened is that ultimately you said goodbye, or you end up saying goodbye to this, which was the new shape of your oyster and your pearl, because it was not really, after all, what you needed. Maybe too much time passed, or maybe they changed too much. But this does come out as if this whole process changed you. You actually took the best parts of this, whatever it was, a person or a situation or a job or dream, you got all the best parts with you. You see, you got all the color, and it kind of became part of you. It changed you. And as it turns out, this kind of death and transformation that was going on, maybe the end of that particular relationship or cooperation, whatever it was actually something that was making you, that was turning you into you, plus the pearl, in a way. You become the thing. And this, I see this as you kind of turning back and saying goodbye to it. Saying goodbye, and then about to turn back forward and then really move forward with a lot of powerful momentum, and as something that is you plus that pearl, but not in the shape of the other or that other thing. It has become a part of who you are. And that, as it turns out, was actually really the point of this relationship or of that situation in your life. It was actually not, as you were hoping for a while, that it was about a union between you and that. It was really about changing you into something that you needed to become. And then moving forward, this comes out, this is an ace of voices, so it's a new beginning, it's a forward movement. I just see you just quickly turning back and saying goodbye to what that was. And it then, this whole story, this part of your life, the situation, comes out clarified by 3 Osho transformation cards. And the most important of them is the authenticity card. And this comes out to say that what was really happening was that this was a process that was changing you. So it's kind of like that movie I was talking about. It really, the important thing was not the relationship. That was what our protagonist thought at one point, but it was really about what he became. And then as a result of that, what he really wanted then came, right? So I feel like this is actually, because of you having gone through that whole process, I feel like the next step could very well be stumbling into the thing that you really wanted in that shape or in another. But this card always says, the thing that this card says is the path is authenticity. The path itself is not important. It's not about the path. It's about what it makes of you. It's about who you become on that path, and how authentic to yourself and how authentic to your heart and your soul you become. That's the real path. Your authenticity as a seeker, that's the path. And I think you really proved that. You really stepped into a lot of integrity through this debacle or this situation, and you're standing on the verge of something really great, because this has been, on a spiritual level, an incredible success. And it comes out with these 2 other cards that are a little more maybe weird. This one that's called play in the English deck, and this one that's called anger also. And I think let's take the anger card. So I don't see necessarily a lot of anger in the reading, but I feel that could have been part of your process. It could also be the state that you've been in or are in. You could be in this state of anger over all of this having turned out the way it did, because it was not really the way you wanted it to turn out originally. It also looks a little bit to me like grief. So you could have been going through these emotions. It could have been part of it, or you could be there right now. And no wonder, because of course this journey has been a little difficult. Excuse me. But it's really not a major part of it. If you're going through this, go through it. It'll go away, and you'll realize that something great is happening to you and has happened to you through this. And then also this really weird card called Play, which is the story about a warrior sent to war, really against his own wishes, because he has friends and family on both sides of this war. So to him, it seems completely meaningless to go and fight it. But then his spirit, his higher self, or spirit itself, shows up to tell him, really, that is not up to you to judge. Spirit is asking you to show up for your destiny, and just go through it, even though some of it seems a little meaningless to you. That might be actually your feelings of anger, might be, why was I shown this beautiful pearl? And why was this incredible desire awoken in me just to go through this process that actually ended up in a little bit of a bittersweet way? And Spirit is saying that that's really not up to you to worry about, because there will come a time when you will know why. And that time might not be directly after this whole thing has played out. That's gonna be an understanding that comes with the blessing that's about to show up. That's about to show up because you went through this, and it changed you. And it changed you into something that will be able to receive that thing that you really want, in a way where you don't have to hunt your destiny. Your destiny will come to you. So this was your reading, Leo. This was a story I'm assuming has played out, or is just playing out in your life. And I don't know from this reading if this exact pearl will come to find you, or it'll take another shape. But I feel that it is certainly a reading about you having become the thing you needed to be on the right frequency for something glorious to arrive in your life. So thank you for being here, and thank you for joining me. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and come back again. See you next time, Leo.